5 copies of his book.
Yeah, I bought
to win a round of golf.
That was a good idea to get the sales range down. Cool. What up, y'all?
Smart.
Monday feels like about a year since we did the last.
That's so funny.
But
I know it's only been 7 days.
Yeah. Karen Elliott came to the meetup. She said, "Hey, Uncle Flips, it's Karen Elliott."
What's up, Karen?
I know Karen Elliott. You typically don't have a profile picture, if I remember that correctly.
Could be new.
Cool.
What's up? We got Armand and Melissa as well. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Happy Monday.
How many heads were there?
I think it was 15 total. There are 14 in the picture, and then Nikki as well too. But yeah, it's cool. I think I might do South Florida this Friday night, so I'm gonna figure out the details on that as well. But it's totally cool. Yeah, and this was the first time we had talked to. I had like posted in the roadmap too, and everything as well. So definitely cool stuff. Got to meet some people I'd never met before. A bunch of folks that I did know, obviously from the group too.
The real Tony G.
Yes, sir. Tony has this very own.
Tony.
He sent me a picture of his VA with the jelly cat.
Yeah.
I told them to get a Lafufu as well. Let's see, American Prepper, W profile.
What's up? It's a good profile pic.
You remember back in the day, Warner, you probably remember this, how there were a ton of Amazon accounts that were called like Picker, the thrifting accounts and stuff. I wonder what happened to that. That like niche people.
Yeah, the prepper giving you flashbacks to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was partially that COVID
made a bunch of thrift store resellers who wanted to do something bigger. Yeah.
Okay, true. Yeah, because it probably created a bunch and destroyed a bunch that had to rely on it and lost it for like 6 months.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I bet it refreshed like it hit the reset button, because if you were doing it part-time and then you probably stopped doing it permanently, but then you get back into it, a whole new crop got into it probably 6 months after everything started.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember, like Bearded Picker, he was from like Alabama or something. I remember Steve.
I remember him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I just feel like not him. He might still post, but like just in general, like that kind of niche of people, I feel like it's probably that I just consume other types of content too and everything. But yeah, those were good times.
It's still very popular. You'll look up. There's lots of good yard sale content and all that kind of stuff. Tanya they still do some some yard sale stuff. Like he's got a second like golf channel that's pretty fun. Like he goes like thrifting for clubs and that kind of thing. I see him on my cool. like page every now and then.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Pro Picker. There we go. Thrift Sifter.
Joe Mazan, happy Monday to you,
Joe?
Sir.
Okay, it's probably bigger than ever here. Yeah, this yard sale deal was absolutely absurd. Happy Monday to the Four Wise Men. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Monday.
Yard sales aren't going anywhere.
Surely it's got to be more than 1 year.
2 years.
Oh, sorry, 2 years. 2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Let me figure this out.
It would have been the Sellers United of like 2 years ago. I think it was the Monday after that.
Yeah. Let us drop any questions you guys got in chat as well. If you guys are on the replay, we're live every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, give or take a few minutes. But just come pop in, ask your questions. You guys already got some good ones. We'll definitely chop it up on that.
I'm actually shocked that Miles doesn't have the month and year nailed down already.
Yeah, it's going to be something like August 20th, 2020.
There it is. There it is. Just got my first business credit card with a 3K limit, max it out. So obviously we're not going to sit here and tell you to max out and use credit responsibly, but it definitely adds some flexibility and some extra leverage when certain buys come up that are calculated. But nowadays, right, and this is something we've been talking about for a bit, back to school season, there's a ton of opportunity to FBM, which obviously speeds up your cash flow cycle tremendously with a lot of like the Crayolas, the Scotches of the world, right? Though anything that you associate with back to school, a lot of that stuff is A, very small and light and easy and cheap to ship. B, very, very high demand, and C, easily accessible, right? So you can go to the Staples of the world, Office Depots, Walmart, Targets. All that stuff is very, very, very easily accessible and retail stores near you, and probably have 7 identical Amazon listings that you can cross-list, spread out your kind of surface area of the buy box, your surface area luck, and make some damage really quick. Again, all with really, really confined buying power.
Okay, so I've live streamed 450 times in the past 26 months. That's pretty good. But we did the first ever Money Monday on August 28th of 2023. So coming up on 2 years.
That's
disgustingly
George's
close.
birthday is next week too, so that's another anniversary we have.
And
Airbud the movie is doing auditions for the next Airbud, and I'm seriously considering entering him.
Why not? That'd be good lore. That'd be good lore.
That would be funny.
Is that your guys' date night? You and George watched Airbud for his birthday?
Yeah, he actually has never seen it. I need to introduce it to him, and then who knows, it might be the next one.
Cool. So Short says, "What's up, boys? Gonna have a 50K month. Thanks for advice and help along the way." Boom. Cool.
You'd love to see it.
Nice.
Congrats, man.
And you're probably coming into your first Q4 as well. So with November and December on the way, the biggest months of the year in a couple months, ask any questions you got. We're very, very happy to help. We've done millions and millions in sales combined, during Q4s over the year. And we would love to help you, do significantly more than a 50K month coming up too. And a big cornerstone of that, guys, is we have a free live class on Wednesday night too. So I linked it in the description. I'll link it in the chat too, but definitely get registered for that if you haven't already, because that's going to be a really, really good free live class. It's not going to be posted on YouTube. It's not going to be posted on TikTok, anything like that. The only way to get access to the private Zoom call is going to be just via that link in the description right there.
It's funny that Next Wave outlet guy consistently shows up to the stream to.
He's showing love. Yeah, he's showing love. Yeah, appreciate you. Next Wave. See you next week. See you next week.
That's hilarious.
My staples are so much crap on sales, but maybe 600 on the clearance, and have sold half of it in the past 24 hours. So yeah, awesome. Right, and a lot of that's probably $4 to ship, 6-7 ounces. The cool thing is you can do with Keeper Product Finder. If you take any of those products, copy some of the significant words from the title, paste it into the text filter, and you'll be able to easily find any of the identical listings. Like for example, like the Crayola crayons, 12-pack crayons or pencils. There's 15 listings for the same single unit SKU, right? And so that the 1-pack, the 2-pack, the 4-pack, there's going to be 5 different 1-packs, right? And so you are on 7 different listings for the same product. And now it's just a matter of how many you can get your hands on locally.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and it sounds like y'all should check out Staples Clearance as well too. So let's see. We got the good ones up here. Got to do a lot rapid fire here. How to source auto ungate products if the store hasn't allowed ungating with 10-unit invoice. So I think you're
if it's an auto ungate, you don't need. You could buy 1 unit. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and just move it there. But yeah, Warner and I both have good auto ungate sourcing content, so I'd totally recommend checking that out as well. Stores that don't typically accept resale certificates, a lot of smaller RA places just kind of don't know how they work. And everything.
Target doesn't, right? Kohl's doesn't.
Some Kohl's will locally.
It usually depends on the manager, even at the big chains.
Weird.
Walmart will always accept
Walmart
it as far as big chains go.
Home Depot, Lowe's as well. Ollie should. Grocery Out. Honestly, a lot of states are tax free. All of you guys watching this should go ask ChatGPT if you're sales tax free in anything in your state, because a lot of times people won't know how that works. And they'll count sales tax twice. They won't subtract sales tax when it's a sales tax free product and everything. So make sure in your SellerSnap settings that you have that correctly for the MISC fee percent, and that you do not add sales tax to the buy cost in your actual calculator if you have it in there. And
and if you are doing retail arbitrage, make sure you're always asking the managers if there's any at other stores. A lot of times they can look it up for you. I was talking to a friend who found something at Lowe's, bought that one, up 50 or 100 of them, and then went to every Lowe's in his area, and there was another 50 or 100 to all of those too.
Lux Ladder said, with Target invoices no longer working, and that's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
that's not true. But he said, what website do you guys recommend to Ungate Vitamins Nature's Made? So I have a video, Lux Ladder. I have a couple videos actually talking about 5, not even just websites, but legit wholesale suppliers that you can source from to get ungated. So I'd recommend checking that out, because I think 1 or 2 of those distributors that I mentioned in that video carry vitamins brands. That might be one of them.
Anywhere you bought them profitably is the answer.
Yeah.
As long as it's not some dude on Telegram. That's the only caveat.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't feel good to get declined for ungates, but you kind of just got to get it come from the mindset that it's going to happen 5, 10, maybe even 15 times per brand on average, right? Sometimes quicker, sometimes slower, and just part of the game. Yep. Sounds good, Gold. Is your account new? I was on a listing. I did not realize the time it was buy unknown. I made a few sales. I kept getting messaged in my account's not eligible. Exactly. Yeah. So Oh, that's not what caused that right there. Sneaker One, plug in a Cuddle Duds listing and a Stafford listing and let us know what it says. Where a lot of folks go wrong with Auto Ungate products, even from our Auto Ungate list that's linked in the description. It's just a big free list of Auto Ungate products. A lot of beginners don't actually hit request approval and apply to sell. They just like put the ASIN in, and if it doesn't let them sell, they think it's not Auto Ungate. But you always have to make sure to hit request approval and apply to sell on that. A lot of people forget those right there. Matt says, hey guys, I usually wait to see what's selling before ordering, but for Q4, that might be too late. How do you prep? Do you stock up for products before keep on SellerSnap show movement or wait until sales start? Phenomenal question. I'm doing a call with my coaching guys tonight on a full calendar for the rest of the year. And a huge mistake people make is speculating on products. Now, if you've been around for a couple years like we have, you can speculate on products. But if you're a brand new seller, you should never buy stuff that isn't profitable today. A lot of people get screwed on that because they think, oh, I'm going to buy this item and sell it during December and stock up now, even though it's not profitable right now. The problem with that is people end up buying the product cheaper during Black Friday, during Cyber Monday, during early Black Friday, and then they end up paying less than you, and they have a better cash flow cycle, and they're typically more flexible because they're probably doing FBM because they bought it later. And I think so. Never speculate on stuff. Just buy stuff that's profitable today.
Yeah, you can do that like a year or two, and you got money to burn. But right now, you're going to end up buying a bunch of stuff that you think is a good idea, but a year from now, you'd be able to see why the price might not stay that high and that kind of thing. Gold had a good question asking if you got a return item it's damaged, do you take the loss or can you get the money back? So if you can prove that the customer damaged it, then you can't get your money back. Generally pretty hard to do unless it's obviously an FBM order, in which case it has to have been them. But yeah, just in general, just get a good process for cleaning stuff up a little bit if it can go back to Amazon, or having a good eBay store that fires a bunch of stuff out to get as much of that money back as you can.
Yep. What's your all of a sudden, shit. Yeah. Haven't sold anything, but once I find an Auto Ungate product, what's a good step? Yeah, buy it, man. Yeah, buy it. So if the keep a chart looks good and everything, buy it. And then flip it and then rinse and repeat,
So Arseni had a good question about a repricer. He said, do you think using SellerSnap is useful if you're just starting out selling 5 to 10 products, especially if capital is limited? So if capital is limited, no, I wouldn't say I would be spending $500 a month on a repricer. You can use like an Aura or another tool like that and just, save some money on the repricer, build up the capital. But eventually I would switch to SellerSnap for sure. It's the best one on the market, but if capital is limited, I wouldn't start with it.
Yeah, usually only makes sense when you're like at least a $7,500 a month kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's such great branding and marketing from SellerSnap's perspective, because everyone immediately associates them with like the premier repricing product.
Yeah, I think it was really smart of them to price it
huge,
$500 a month.
And it's like a general consensus. Oh yeah, once you get to a certain point, you graduate to SellerSnap, and there's like no other competitor that's like the one.
Yeah.
If you're doing 50K months, test it out. Do you guys have success in selling hazmat items? Yeah, hazmat items are dope. You just have to FBM them from the get-go and just make sure that you have the hazmat guidelines correct right there. Okay, good question for Corey here. So OA work sounds like he's looking to become wholesale work.
A little bit of transitioning
there. Says, what's the best way to convince a brand to open up an account with them?
Yeah, so I mean, really, you just want to align it with their goals, right? So sometimes it's impossible to get an account with a brand. Sometimes brands simply won't allow it, but you can get a brand to work with you or to sell to you if you just ask them, like, what are their pain points, right? What is it that they're trying to do on Amazon? What are their goals related to Amazon? And then just see how you can help them. And sometimes for a lot of brands, sometimes it's, we just need sellers who can sell on Amazon. Like sometimes they literally just need you to buy their products and sell them. In which case your job is really easy. You don't have to learn marketing. You don't have to learn PPC or do anything crazy. So yeah, just ask them what their goal is when it comes to Amazon and just help them with that goal. And that sometimes could be something really small, and sometimes it might be a little more involved.
I mean, the key there is also just being as specific and quality over quantity, right? It's not using the general contact us form. It's actually putting the 5 minutes of work into finding 5 sales reps that you can email directly. Whether it be LinkedIn or another software, it's finding people to email within the company, as opposed to using the contact us or the regular sales at companyname.com. And then on top of that, once you find specific people to email, include specific information of an RFQ that you're aiming to do. 200 units of this particular product aimed around $20 target cost or whatever it is for you, right? If you put together a list of a couple SKUs that you're interested in with prospective quantities, you're immediately going to stand out from the pack that says, hey, I want to buy your stuff. I sell on Amazon, right? So it's quality over quantity. It's being as specific as possible with who you're reaching out to and the products that you're inquiring about, as well as the positioning that's, okay, I'm not just an Amazon seller. I'm an e-commerce professional. I'm a wholesaler. I'm a retailer, whatever the case may be. Because the second you pigeonhole yourself into an Amazon seller, you degrade yourself. You devalue yourself as the prospective business partner that you could and should be.
Hey, but what if we're not all famous on LinkedIn like Corey is today?
Yeah, people on there are not happy with me, which
you can still find
no
emails without just as just like a general LinkedIn user.
American says, I wanna start. Y'all sell. Yeah, Trader Joe's is fire. Yeah, Trader Joe's is good right there. So Denise says, I'm trying to ungate Gorral brand. I have a combined invoice of 220 units, tried 50 plus times, change invoice name, still not ungated. Yeah, occasionally some of those big ungates can take a while, but it's super, super worth it. I had a student who did about 55, I think she said, for Gorral, got it, and now she sold a couple thousand units the last couple months, and it's been like a really, really good thing, basically. So yeah, sometimes ungates will take a little longer. Right there. L'Oreal. Not like hard gated brands. If it says copy listing, we can't really help you. But if it applies, then if it lets you apply for a brand, then we're good to go.
You also be careful if you're buying accounts. Technically, the only way you're allowed to is if you buy the whole business entity that owns the seller account.
Right.
So if you buy an account from somebody, make sure you bought their entire business.
Yeah, and there are some brokers out there who will buy and sell Amazon accounts, but there's also a lot that just don't know what they're doing. So make sure if you buy an account that you buy it from like a reputable broker, a reputable person, and yeah, buy the whole company.
Should I stay away from suppressed buy box? Absolutely not. It could be a strategy in itself, right? Because anything you try and attempt to, or anytime you look for products that a lot of people are avoiding, you're going to have success, whether it be a suppressed buy box, whether it be no sales rank, whether it be out of stock, right? Each of those independently are independent strategies that you should be looking into, right? And so in the case with the suppressed buy boxes, a lot of times those markets tend to be a little higher than they have in the past, right? Because a lot of times Amazon kind of shuts off the buy box when they deem it to be too high in an attempt to kind of like force it back down. So looking for those sorts of products, is a way to identify a little bit higher markets that you maybe want to FBM in a temporary fashion, or B, just look for products that, again, the masses are skipping over, that don't have the buy box, that have established volume at a suppressed buy box scale that you can obviously source and take advantage of.
Boom, boom. Reapply or reopen case. It honestly doesn't have that much of a difference, but I'd say reapply. Yeah.
So Johnny said, Corey, what should I say to distributors that ask me for a website? I don't have a website to lead them to, and I don't want to seem unprofessional or inexperienced to the distributor. So Johnny, yeah, if you don't have a website, you can just tell them, or like, first of all, you should be reaching out from a real domain email address. So not johnny@gmail.com. Yeah. So you want to be reaching out from like johnny@yourwebsite.com, but that doesn't mean your website actually needs to be built. As long as you have the professional email address, you could just tell them like, oh, our website's under construction, right? And they're not going to ask questions. Like having a website is not 100% required, but that professional email address, I would say, is 100% required.
In the same token, though, I would say a bad website is more of a detriment than a good website is a positive.
Definitely.
Right? And so in other words, if you just want to go the cheap and efficient route and spend $50 on some Fiverr guy to make a website, that's going to be way more of a disadvantage than spending $1,000 on a really, really good website is a positive, right? So it's not the end all be all. Does it help? Yes. Is it going to be make or break? No.
Yep. So Biz says, is it harder to find profitable products in some states rather than others? I'm finding it hard here in California. No, it's not where you live. Like, for example, where you live has a little bit higher sales tax, but there's also more retail arbitrage opportunities there than most states. There's also no sales tax on vitamins and I believe grocery. in California. So it's not like the state you live in. It all comes down to, if you're struggling to find profitable products, right? All it comes down to is learning and applying the 1 to 2 tips and tricks that exist for each website to create the margin. For example, like today I made a Loom video for a student where we storefront stock the same stores, and I found a bunch of leads and he didn't. And what it was that we both recognized that certain items sold quick, right? But I was able to make them profitable and he wasn't. And that came down to, I knew that one of those sites, there was a 20% coupon code and discounted gift cards, and he didn't apply that discount. So it made the margin for me and not for him, right? And that's the name of the game here. Yes, we love the Shark Boy. Yes, we haven't got one of those in a while.
Hasn't been a while. It's either that or Kane Brown, one of the two.
Yes, that's fire right there. There's an RA store every 10 miles. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, grocery outlet, obviously tons of major retailers and everything. Yeah.
So there are a few good questions from earlier. I want to rapid fire a couple of these. So Jamal said, what are the best questions to ask a prep center when going through the vetting process? So Jamal, I like to figure out like what's going to be, how do I communicate with them? Is it via text? Is it via email? Do they have like a messaging portal? What are their rates? A big red flag for me is a prep center that doesn't charge an all-in price. So if they say like, oh, it's 40 cents per unit, but then you pay like per box, and then there's a pallet receiving fee, and there's a pallet out fee, and there's all these additional fees, I think that's a big red flag. So mainly it's communication, speed, and quality. You just want to verify those things. OA Work said, I want to start a wholesale business and have 5K in savings as capital.
Yeah, join Corey's $35 a month membership immediately and get to work.
Yeah, I would say join the school community. It's $35 a month. But he said, I have 5K in savings. I have no time constraints and can dedicate my full time to it. Can I start with this amount? Yeah, 5K is really the minimum that I recommend anybody start with. So you
need to not be anonymous, and you need to be getting out there and sharing your journey, man. You sound like an awesome young king, OA Work. You gotta get active on social, man. Amazon Twitter's back. We're seeing videos flying left and right.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. It's awesome.
Yeah, get on Twitter.
And if time isn't a constraint, then get after some of the stuff that's a little more time intensive, right? Like the going to actual stores. Like, I mean, hitting thrift stores and stuff is worth your time. I mean, $5,000 is a good amount, but it's still not a ton. You know what I mean? So if you can figure out how to spend like $500 on a super high ROI and the rest learning wholesale, then you'll be nicely set up.
Yeah, dude, you got capital, you got time, and now you just need some other young kings to run with too. Or queens, for that matter.
Another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, this is a good question from Matt. Sometimes I find products with around 40% ROI and can ship profitably in most states, but I ship them to California, that item becomes unprofitable. I do FBA. Any tips? Yeah, you're drastically overestimating the cost of shipping to California, honestly. And I think that you got to just sell some more items and you'll see kind of the distribution. On that, and that especially under 1 pound, which are probably most of the items you're doing, the difference in shipping costs is very, very low. You may have just had an order or two to California that was way more expensive. That wasn't actually the shipping cost. That was just unlucky in respect to Amazon's delivery expectation on that product. Long term, you're going to take late delivery risks all the time and just buy on pirate ship separately right there and make extra profit, basically.
And somebody asked earlier, I can't find it, but he was basically saying like, how do you vet wholesale distributors? He's like, there's a lot of sketchy ones out there. So my biggest tip that I can give is any distributors or any suppliers that market to Amazon sellers, if they include ASINs on their price list, or if they like include Amazon links on their website, or if they say like, hey, we sell to e-commerce, or our invoices will ungate you, those are going to be just wholesalers. Like, avoid those like the plague. They're not going to be authorized. Legitimate distributors don't do that. So really a good legit distributor is one that's been in business for a long time, usually multiple decades. They've got a warehouse operation that you can look up on Google Maps. They sell business to business. They carry brand name products. I have a few videos talking about my criteria, but that's kind of the gist.
I mean, you like we always talk about, right? It's starting with the brand and then going as like shortly adjacently to the brand as possible, right? In 2025, you either have to be working with the brand or working with someone that buys from the brand, right? And so, like a company like mine is an aggregator who works with a bunch of different brands, and obviously, creates that arbitrage for our Amazon sellers specifically. But there's going to be a lot of brands that are open to that sort of relationship. And it's just like we talked about before, just like a positioning game, a quality over quantity game, being as specific as possible, and you're going to open those accounts.
Okay, good question here from HG. What up, HG? I think I screwed myself by plugging in the ungated ASINs that was provided by Miles before enrolling, because then everything I try to apply to sell is gated. Nah, that didn't affect it at all. But Hooligan, plug in a CuddleDuds ASIN, plug in a Stafford listing, and then hit request approval and apply to sell, and you'll see that they're still auto ungated. And then once you sell like 1 to 2K on Amazon, you start to get a lot more stuff auto ungated too. But at the same time, don't be afraid of stuff that is gated, because you can get approved for it. Right there. Yes, sir, Professor Pika. OA is not consistent and relies on deals. That means those people do not buy from any evergreen websites like the largest retailers in the world, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc.
Plus, you want the things that aren't consistent. That's where the profit is. So like, yeah, that's exactly the point. You want the items that are only profitable under certain conditions, because then you just know when it's profitable, right? Like that's what we're talking about. Like with OA, it's just a game of how do I make items as cheap as possible on this website? And then every time that same condition comes back, maybe it's a Black Friday sale, maybe it's a sale they run every 3 months, every other month, every week, whatever that is, right? And you only buy during that period, and just start writing down like the best prices, or like the best kind of like discount mechanisms you've seen there, right? So that's going to be like coupons, cashback, all that kind of stuff. And then just only
like as an OA seller, your competitive advantage is essentially your documentation, your blueprint of all of that stuff. Right, you'll at some point have different sheets of all the different products that you're buying from particular sites, ideally in specific time frames. Right, you'll have like different season sheets, back to school, Christmas, Thanksgiving, et cetera. Right, that's the whole OA space in a bottle. Right, your competitive advantage, your discount mechanism per site, and then the time period that site kind of corresponds to. On the wholesale side, your competitive advantage, like we talk about, is your relationships, is your portrayal of yourself and your business as a professional prospective partner to a lot of these sales reps, right? It's Corey calling his sales rep, me calling my sales rep, and us having different relationships and have spent different amounts of money on different products for different periods of time. That's your competitive advantage from a wholesale perspective. But from an OA perspective, when you're just adding products to a cart, all your discount mechanisms, the levers you pull, that is your competitive advantage.
Yeah, so Baruch, for any of you guys who want sourcing help, there's a good back to school sourcing question. Just search Flips4Miles auto ungate. I have a good back to school training too, so you can search Flips4Miles back to school and watch those. Those will get you up to speed with that stuff quick there. Yeah, Denise. So we have a couple options, man. So just go ahead and apply, and we'll fill you on how that stuff works. Right there. And 2016 Steph Curry performance is calling, so I'm gonna go, play some basketball and everything. So appreciate you guys tuning in. And make sure you get registered for the free live class we got going on Wednesday night as well. It's going to be really, really good content for you guys. We're super excited to share. And hope you all have a great day. Thanks a lot.
See you guys next Monday.
Be great.
See you guys.
Okay.